Charlie Brooker and you're watching Screenwipe, a programme all about television, and that's about all we've got time for this week, so bye!
On BBC One now, Adrian Chiles is hot on the trail of the real Jackie Brambles. And on BBC Three, Barry Shitpeas is sick on a widow. Now on BBC Four, Victoria Coren's close to the edge.
Corners are where little Jack Horner ate his pie. Several hundred years later, Dizzy Rascal rapped about being a boy in one. Corners have been an essential part of popular culture for centuries. And yet, incredibly, they didn't exist at all until 1384. In fact, this example, here in the crypt of St James's Church, Spitalfields, was the first corner in the world. People queued for hours.
Yeah, hooray for f***ing corners. Go on, piss off, Coren. Come on, end this bullshit now. I haven't finished. Roll credits. Have you noticed how programmes today all seem to overlap each other? Whatever happened to the good old days of proper end credits like this?
I'll tell you what happened. These lovely old credits ended.
In the case of the BBC, they ended in June this year when this set of guidelines was introduced. It specifies what you can and can't do, with the emphasis on the can't. But before we ever moan about that, let's look at how credits used to work.
Old end credits were often agreeably shambolic and handmade, like these charmingly low-tech examples from Crossroads. What's more, they lasted an age compared to today and would often end with the date the show was made printed in Roman numerals, so it was hard for viewers to tell just how old the repeat was. But then broadcasters did some research and realised that people turned off or over during the end credits, and that just won't do in today's multi-channel world where the networks have to continually show off and behave in undignified ways in a desperate bid for your attention. It's embarrassing. Hence the credit squeeze, which is meant in theory to keep you glued to the set. Thanks to the squeeze, we can't end the show the way we used to, no. Now our credits can't have distracting words or visuals in them, so they can be squeezed and babbled over. But we miss old end credits, and here's why. Proper end credits provide a mental breathing space, bookending each show and giving you time to let your mental food go down. It's a bit like the moment you finish reading a novel. It's nice to just gaze wistfully out the window for a few moments and reflect. But how much shitter would that be if the minute you finished, somebody started trying to get you to read another book and then another book?
Yes, some things are more important than ratings, and I'd argue that aesthetics are one of them.
Now there's no more bits of business from the cast like in the pantomime-esque Are You Being Served? No more singing along to the toe-tapping Rent-A-Ghost theme tune.
We are extraordinary fellas here at Rent-A-Ghost.
No more funny joke names nestling amongst the titles, and it's tougher to subversively pretend your show's ended when it hasn't, as in the peerless Monty Python.
On BBC Two, a discussion on censorship between Derek Hart, the Bishop of Woolwich, and a nude man. And on BBC One, me telling you this.
People in TV, especially young whippersnappers on their first jobs, like seeing their names in the credits. It gives them a sense of pride in their work. I mean, look what's happened to our team since the credit change.
What's more, some viewers like credits.
I used to like wondering who Mikola Polak was, or why Ken Morse always seemed to be credited as rostrum camera.
Incidentally, this is Mikola Polak. He's a man.
No, all that's gone now, crushed by the clunking dead fist of marketing and people who use words like content and solutions, like this prick.
Enablement really, really does mean vision. And vision, conversely, also means enablement.
Yeah, ultimately, credit squeezes are bad because this gonk thinks they're good.
Don't you make me sick. Let's have a look at your little report. Oh, let's try your glasses on. What does it look like? Oh, I can see content everywhere. That's interesting, isn't it? Oh, do you like that, do you? Bring the rest of it up. Well, have a look at this one. Look at this report, yeah? Look at that, yeah? Look at it, yeah? That makes sense to you, doesn't it, you idiot? Pick it up. Pick it up.
Earlier this year, in one of our many previous series, we took a look at men in advertising and decided they were all swaggering, blokey cocks. But some of you complained. Women can be cocks too, you said, and you know what? You're right. Oh, she's so sexy. Oh, she thinks she's so sexy. Oh, she thinks she's so sexy. Oh, she's gotta rub the roses around her boobs. Actually, I did that the other day. Anyway, to redress the balance, we're going to take another look at the current top 10 cocks in advertising, except this time round some of them are women.
At number 10, a she-cock as pretty as her name suggests.
I'm Nadine Baggott, celebrity beauty editor. And it can
Why, Miss Baggott, without the sack on your head, you're passable.
There's a beauty product that's been splashed across page after page of magazines and newspapers.
I've splashed across page after page of magazines and newspapers in my time.
Now Ola Regenerist is the worst kept secret in beauty.
Yeah, and whose fault is that, you terror hawk?
At number 9, ooh, someone's life's been changed by diet snacks.
Who says you can't lose weight and enjoy yourself?
Bobby Sands?
I'm munching on chocolate bars.
You're not.
I'm snacking on pretzels.
There's something weirdly bleak about this. If you've got so little going on in your life, you're astounded by snacking on pretzels, you might as well be dead.
At number 8, Mr. Vinwood Jonesington Smythe thoughtfully minds his language.
Ah, what?
The sheep.
Oh, no. I'm in the village of... I have no idea.
Good job he wasn't driving through shit on Tweed.
At number 7, it's Jose Gil Hernandez, president of Polaris.
Hi, I'm Jose Luis Hernandez, president of Polaris World.
Hello, I'm your new neighbour. You know, it's not fair to mock his accent, so let's mock his trousers instead.
To keep our prices
If
competitive.
you want to hitch those pantaloons a bit higher, we can still see your neck. Men will do anything for sex. They'll lie, they'll cheat, they'll listen to women.
All this just for the chance to expel some fluid. How pointless.
Nevertheless, as the Italians say, the men are the luck of the fucking. And some of them like it enough to pay for it, which is scandalous, and I think someone should put a stop to it. Anne Widdecombe versus prostitution sounds like the ultimate Hobson's choice, but it isn't. It's a show broadcast recently on ITV, in which the MP'd scene here, disguised as a relief map of the Himalayas, tours Britain Street's advice in a desperate bid to stop sex happening.
To do so, she uncovers the curb crawlers and confronts the hookers themselves.
My name's Anne Widdecombe from ITV, and I'm making a programme about prostitution, and I wondered what your view on the subject was.
Depends if you're offering anything.
We don't pay for views. Well, she certainly wanted paying for her views. I wonder if she wants paying for anything else.
In a bid to understand what makes the punters tick, Widdecombe speaks to one, namely this bloke, Piers Hernu, former editor of Front Magazine and self-confessed prosy hound.
Well, initially I did it out of curiosity.
Yeah, I wondered what my dick would look like going in and out of a prostitute.
You view street prostitutes. You haven't just gone for the upper-class schoolgirl. You view street prostitutes. Did you think about their lives when you were using them?
Yes, I did.
Sorry, was that before or after you'd come? Still no nearer to solving the world's oldest profession, Anne carries on trying to talk street girls out of plying their wares, confronting pimps, and even visiting a brothel.
So I'm off to see the madam.
The wonderful Madam of Whores.
Chantal didn't want to be recognised, and even asked for her voice to be disguised.
But it looks like they went one further and got Lenny Henry to play her as a comic character.
You wouldn't want a daughter to come into this, would you?
No! God, no! I'll kill her!
Here we see Anne pretending to understand what Lenny's saying.
And the ladies, they earn money.
About 2:30. Then Anne drives around for a bit in a car only marginally bigger than she is, so she looks like a sort of angry robot beetle on a mission from God, and ultimately fails to offer any concrete solutions, because what she mainly did was disapprove.
Next morning, the results of prostitution. Condoms, needles, crack cans. Ugh, horrible.
Oh, I don't know, there's a certain tragic beauty going on there. I call this one Death of a Yellow Fun Tube. Anyway, with ITV1 having established that prostitution is grubby and wrong, it's down to spunky ITV2 to make the case for the defence by saying that no, actually, it's just a cool lifestyle choice. Secret Diary of a Call Girl is a glossy aspirational drama based on the blog and subsequent book written by Belle Dujour, an anonymous London call girl, and it stars none other than wholesome girl next door Billie Piper.
Escort, hooker, prostitute, whore, I don't mind what you call me.
Except now the girl next door's all growed up and doesn't care who knows it.
I always use men's deodorant. I never wear perfume. The professional never lets her client leave smelling of woman. Convince them that you're wet and you're halfway there.
Yes, Billie Piper's gone all porny. In fact, she's less Billie Piper and more Willy Wiper. I live on my own. The show is surprisingly mucky and at times looks suspiciously like soft porn. Anyway, the main difference between this and traditional soft porn is that this feels like it's mainly aimed at women. There's a sort of empowerment through being for money sort of argument going on. Of course, this is Billie Piper's highest profile role since really making her name as Rose in Doctor Who, and it couldn't be more different. Although there are a few hangovers from her days as a Doctor Who assistant. She still has to scream. She still has to ask questions that advance the plot.
Where would you like to fuck me?
And she still has her own sonic screwdriver. And if you ask her nicely, she'll climb on your rocket and touch down on your anus and tickle your balls. Your space balls. I've run out of metaphors. She's a prostitute. She'll do in anything. It doesn't help, actually, that her first client closely resembles Tom Baker, circa 1977, although here is less Doctor Who and more Doctor Who. I've come. I wonder if he feels bigger on the inside, like the TARDIS. Anyway, the show, while utterly frothy, is better than you might expect, partly due to Miss Piper herself, one of the most inherently likeable presences on television, and partly due to Belle's disarming frankness.
The first thing you should know about me is that I'm a whore.
It's also genuinely quite dirty, much filthier than I was expecting at any rate. Scarcely a moment passes without some sort of sex act happening, and Billie certainly throws herself into the role with some gusto. Although having said that, I don't think this bit's quite rude enough. Hang on. Billie, could you raunch this bit up a bit? Maybe pull his bum cheeks apart so we can practically see up his flu?
No problem. No problem.
Thanks. Yeah, that's better. There's a strange tension at work on the show. On the one hand, it's portraying Belle's life as glamorous and alluring. But on the other, there are reminders that her life isn't without consequence, which I suspect will increase in intensity as the weeks go by, because we love a morality tale, us Brits, especially if it's disguised as a fest.
Now here's comedian Richard Herring talking about a large man and a small man.
It may seem weird to some people that I, a 40-year-old man, am obsessed with a programme that some people would argue is for children. About 3 or 4 years ago, I was waking up early in the morning, and to try and just pass the time before I could go back to sleep again, I'd put on the TV, and that's where I discovered Big Cook, Little Cook. Basically, a normal-sized man and a small man run a cafe together. There's nothing... It's the classic setup of a TV show.
He is Big Cook and he is small. Friends in our cafe, we cook for them all.
It's a very weird partnership, and it's difficult to work out how they got together. And what's weird is that Big Cook has an unusual name, he's called Ben, but Little Cook is called Small, which I think seems rude.
Sorry, Ben. Small, would you like to play catch with my beach ball? Oh, yes. Come on, then. 1, 2, 3. Hang on, Ben. I can't catch that ball. It's far too big for me.